Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending where you are in the world. How's everybody doing in the YouTube audience? Could I get an audio and visual check before I jump into it? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys see the screen? We got our live news on the left. We got our market sentiment indicators with the US dollar, Japanese yen, and volatility index. And hopefully my voice is loud and clear here. How is everybody doing today? Okay. Before we jump into the analysis, welcome to the live market analysis stream and Capital Hungry New York scalping session. We're going to be doing fundamental and technical analysis across gold, GJ, GBP Usd, Euro USD, USD Cad, as well as the US 30 stock market, looking at any fundamental events that are in play and affecting the markets, as well as market sentiment, technicals, and then of course trade ideas across those pairs. Before we jump into it, you just have your stream reminders listed on your screen right there. This is not direct financial advice, but once I go through market sentiment, the economic events, the fundamental points, as well as the trade ideas, feel free after that process to send me any charts you want me to look at, to talk about any economic events, fundamentals, or ask questions. Okay? All of the resources for Capital Hungry, whether it's paid or for free, such as the free news Twitter, as well as the free Telegram analysis channel, it's all linked in multiple spaces. You have it on the YouTube layout, on the stream reminder right now, as well as in the description. Remember, let's give you guys a quick little morning seizure. Remember, we are all manual retail traders. We're not institutional traders. We're not the big banks. We are people sitting in our Fruit of Loom underwears at our computers and at our desks in our rooms. Okay? As a manual retail trader, we are always going to have various factors that are impacting our decision-making process. Most likely, various emotions. The best way to avoid emotions and to avoid having external factors impact your decision-making process in trading is to, number one, have a trading plan. Once you have that trading plan of the style you are trying to trade, and what you are looking to get out of the market, stick to that trading plan like a blueprint, like a builder who's building a house would stick to a blueprint until the house is built. You have to stick to that trading plan, follow your risk management plan, and understand that this is a game of probabilities, math, and numbers. Focus on the long-term vision rather than short-term satisfactions. Keep emotions out, and this is the best way to avoid crashing your account. Now, in terms of fundamental points, we recently had something that led to very strong short-term US bullish impact on the dollar index, as well as led to a drop on gold, a correction and a short-term drop on the stock market, a drop on all pairs against the dollar, a drop on Bitcoin, as well as a drop on oil and other commodities and precious metals, like I already talked about gold. This was primarily yesterday, where we had Bank of England speakers and other central bank speakers discuss tapering and how they want to start going into tapering process. And then yesterday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern, Joe Biden discussed and announced a plan that they're going to be revealing on Thursday to combat the Delta variant, a 6-step plan for the US economy and the US citizens that's going to be revealed on Thursday. This led to a short-term drop on the US stock market, as well as some impulsive upside moves on the dollar, and everything against the dollar just had a short-term drop on the higher time frames. But besides that, the focus for the Federal Reserve and their tapering process is still needing to see maximum employment within the US labor market. What we noticed last week on Friday was that non-farm payrolls job data was extremely weak and led to a bearish impact on the dollar, and we still understand that the Fed will be slow, steady, and not rush for tapering, and that also led to a bearish impact on the dollar. So you can see here when we're looking at the US dollar, last week we had these initial downside moves which came from a poor non-farm payrolls, as well as tapering being delayed. But then this upside move, which potentially is breaking this short-term bearish structure from these lows printed, came from other central bank speakers around the world yesterday during London session. Bank of England discussing tapering, as well as Joe Biden bringing up that plan to combat the Delta variant out of the blue. I don't know about you guys, but the whole Biden administration and Joe Biden, they've been as quiet as a mouse. We haven't been hearing too much from Sleepy Joe. So it was actually pretty interesting that they brought that to the table. I'll show you guys the exact headline here. I'm just going to search it in the newsroom. So here, this was the headline at 10 a.m. Eastern yesterday. I also sent it to the free Telegram analysis channel right here. You guys can see to the left of your screen. That led to this short-term strength on the US dollar and then led to gold dropping, pairs like GBP USD, Euro USD dropping, and USD Cad pushing to the upside. You can also see that US Treasury yields hit a high right after this economic event and headline. So even though we were in a bias to see further downside on the dollar, the fundamentals within the market changed as we had this reactive headline, with first being the tapering talks of Bank of England overnight, and then of course Joe Biden on Thursday to lay out a 6-pronged strategy aimed at stopping the spread of the Delta variant. This also led to that US dollar strength. Okay, so we can see for the short term here, the volatility index had a bit of an upside move, as of course the US stock market index ended up having that pullback. If you guys remember the last market update webinar, we were just assessing the US stock market index within this higher time frame range and assessing if we were either going to have two things happen. Either a deeper pullback stage, which it does look like we're getting here at 35K, and then just ride up further buys from that key level. So for today on US 30, I'm actually looking for a retest of 35K and continued buys. Or we were waiting for the break out of the consolidation zone buys. With the headline that came from obviously Joe Biden, we had this little bit of a correction below the consolidation zone, coming right to pretty much 35K flat on the stock market. But when we're looking at the stock market across the regions, we're still very bullish. For example, German markets also did that bit of a dip that's already being bought up overnight. UK markets had that dip that's already being bought up. And we can see that the USA Dow Jones had that dip, which has a lot of potential if we don't break 35K to again be bought up. So overall, besides having the short-term US dollar strength, which we're going to have to watch accordingly because we have two impacting factors that's going to impact the dollar during our New York trading session, markets are still fairly optimistic when you're looking at the bearish structure of the volatility index, when you're looking at the Japanese yen being relatively flat as well. So to start off our analysis, we're going to start off on GBP JPY because that's still the most clear cut and easiest to trade right now, as the Japanese yen is still relatively bearish by itself, as well as the UK stock markets are still very bullish. So before I jump into it, economic events for today. This is going to be impacting US dollar as well as Canadian dollar, but mainly the US dollar. At 10 a.m. Eastern, we have the US JOLTS job openings data, and then again at 10 a.m. Eastern, the Canada interest rate decision. Of course, the Canada interest rate decision is going to impact the Canadian dollar primarily, but what's very important is that at the Bank of Canada press conference, if Bank of Canada representatives also discuss tapering, similar to how the Bank of England speakers did, and we also have very good jobs data in JOLTS job opening, then US dollar is going to continue up bullish in this fashion. So here, when we're looking at the US dollar, pretty much we might get a bit of a pullback here, but this pathway of price, this bullish pathway of price on the US dollar is only going to come from JOLTS job opening strong data, Bank of Canada taper talks. Because remember, the US dollar is the world's reserve currency and the world's business currency, as well as through the asset purchase program the Federal Reserve did through the last year and a half, the financial markets are primarily being propped up by the feds and by the central banks. So any tapering talks or interest rate hike talks from any central bank does have a short-term bullish impact on the dollar, like we saw last night with the Bank of England move here. Bank of England taper talks, then a continued upside move with Joe Biden Delta variant plan. This all led to the upside. For us to see continued upside on the US dollar, we're going to have strong JOLTS job opening data and Bank of Canada taper talks as well, okay? Otherwise, if we get very poor data from JOLTS job opening, as well as stimulus staying active by the Bank of Canada, then dollar is going to continue its bearish structure after failing to break this previous low price sensitivity area and still maintaining intraday bearish market structure. And we're going to start to take this sell price and sell play right back down. Central banks work hand in hand. Federal Reserve leads the pack. US dollar is the world's reserve business currency. The asset purchase program by the Federal Reserve was the most intense that we've ever seen in history. This asset purchase program included commodities like oil, gold, US stock market ETFs, US housing market, copper, wood, and everything in between. So the entire financial market is essentially a huge web, and it's being propped up by the support and steps taken by the Federal Reserve, which is primarily led in charge by the US dollar. So other central banks discussing tapering talks or discussing interest rate policy positioning does have an impact on the US dollar as it starts to potentially reverse the stimulus that we've seen come to this date. Of course, in the macro perspective, the main confirms for US dollar movement is going to come from Federal Reserve. And we still know that the Federal Reserve is going to be very slow, very patient with their tapering process. Why is the Federal Reserve going to be extremely slow with the tapering process? Well, they understand that the majority of financial market gains, whether it's on the stock market, I already talked about it, so you guys just have to rewind and listen again, especially you, Vikram. You watch all the streams, but you're dumber than a motherfucker. So sorry to be rude to you, but you watch so many of these streams and videos, and you just wait for scalps to take, you know what I mean? So just pay attention. But anyways, we know that the Federal Reserve themselves, they're still going to be extremely slow with their tapering process and interest rate hike process, because they do not want to have massive impact on the financial markets and impact the gains that they have had to this point. Remember, as the US dollar has been bearish for the last year and a half, if any of you in your free time, I recommend you go look at the US dollar index chart in your free time. Go to the daily chart and go to the structure of how it's looked since March 2020. It's been extremely bearish. If you look at anything against the dollar or supported by the dollar, whether it's the US stock market, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's gold, whether it's pairs against the dollar like GBP Usd, they have, or the housing market, copper, wood, whatever it is, they have all been bullish ever since the asset purchase program and quantitative easing done by the feds, and ever since the dollar has been bearish. Okay, so just go look at that correlation quick yourself, and you're going to say, oh shit, the markets are really being propped up by the feds. So it doesn't matter if it's if the JOLTS job opening at 10 a.m. Eastern is also bad, and the Bank of Canada says, hey, you know what, Delta variant risks still remain, which I think the Bank of Canada is going to follow a similar tune to what the Federal Reserve has done. Usually Canada just follows what the US is doing. So there's a high probability that if the JOLTS job opening is bad, because we saw that the non-farm payroll was very poor data, right? That we also have the potential for this economic data to be a bit poor. And if the Bank of Canada keeps stimulus active, dollar will turn back bearish, fail to break these highs in this price sensitivity area, and start to follow this pathway of price to come back down to these lows if we get these confirms. And the inverse, if JOLTS job opening is extremely good and the Bank of Canada talks about tapering, then dollar will break above 92.8. So we have to understand that the US dollar is dominating the markets. It doesn't mean, I'm not talking about the US dollar being extremely strong. I'm talking about the influence of the Federal Reserve, and the US dollar impact is what's dominating the markets. For example, it doesn't matter what pair was against the dollar yesterday, whether it was Bitcoin, gold, GBP USD, Euro USD, whether it was a stock market, everything had a correction as the dollar went up. If you go look at Bitcoin, the same time dollar went up, Bitcoin had a correction. It wasn't because of El Salvador headlines. It's because Bitcoin is a part of the Federal Reserve's asset purchase program, because when they dump it off, they're going to make a shit ton of money from the public. When the dollar went up, stock market had a correction. Euro USD had a pullback. GBP USD had a pullback. Gold had a heavy drop move because we had tapering talks by central banks, and the positive data, as well as the Joe Biden headline leading to dollar strength. Bitcoin also had a correction yesterday that just happened to come the same time the dollar was strong. This is not random. The dollar is dominating the markets. Oil. Where's oil? AUD USD. Oil had a bit of a pullback yesterday as well from these intraday highs because dollar is dominating. Okay, so we're going to be watching this dollar, either potential strength or weakness, very closely. But before we jump into our analysis on dollar pairs, we're just going to do GJ first because it's very clear cut. It's a lot easier in terms of the price action and movement so far. We can see that the Japanese yen is much more bearish. This is the Japanese yen by itself. It's much more bearish than obviously the US dollar for the time being, as we're not having any individual fundamental impacting factors on the yen. It's still just following order flow and market sentiment and staying bearish. We can see that GBP JPY, if you guys followed the last market update webinar, that was for free on the YouTube channel, we were looking for pullbacks to 151,500 and buys, because overall we're still very bullish. We're still very bullish on GBP JPY from that higher time frame analysis that was given during the Monday market analysis. And you can see that this is the last price sensitivity area from 151.5 that took us into these intraday highs. Just because you might be breaking a trend line does not mean you're breaking market structure. Now we're getting a double bottom in this area, showing even more sellers exhaustion. The same time, UK equities are still strong and the Japanese yen is still bearish. So we've already had the 151.5 buys play out, but I'm looking for a similar buy setup that we had during our yesterday New York session, which is now looking for a retest of 151.800 and continued buys back up to the top of the range. Okay, so as New York session opens up in roughly 30 minutes, I'm going to be assessing how these 30-minute candles close. And I'm going to be looking for pullbacks to 151.800 and continuations up. People would only say GJ is trading sideways if they trade 5 pips and they don't know how to zoom out and look at overall market structure, and they only look at the 15-minute time frame. If you simply zoom out and look at GJ on the daily chart, we've actually been bullish for almost the last 3 weeks here. Just because the market is consolidating or is in a pullback stage does not mean you cannot take advantage of it or learn how to do analysis and understand it. For example, look at this run from these previous lows here created and look at this bullish run. Here you had some very aggressive pullback phases as you're having this bullish run that still don't break market structure and you end up extending into those highs. when you're looking at GBPJPY, for the last like 15-20 days, we've had very strong bullish engulfing and consecutive bullish candles on the daily time frame, minor pullbacks or consolidations where you would be able to identify this as a consolidation zone on the intraday time frames, and then breakouts to the upside, right? Same thing we're having happen here is just a bit of a consolidation phase, but we're generating order flow and liquidity that once we clear above 152, we're going to go back up to these intraday targets at 153.500, especially if the Japanese yen remains bearish by itself, which it is, and of course if UK equity markets stay relatively hot. So to keep things very simple, I'm in a buyer bias on GBP JPY. I would only be taking sells if we broke below 151.5. If UK equity markets decline through our New York trading session, Japanese yen has strength, we break below 151.5, then with those fundamental confirms as well as correlation confirms and technical confirms, then I'll sell below 151.5. But my main bias is still buys. If we get a retest at 151.8, safer buys above 152, safest buys above 152.2. So break and retest in this area, break above 152, break above 152.2. This is my main bias. As long as we don't see any fear, uncertainty, or doubt through our New York scalping session hours and UK markets stay relatively hot, Japanese yen continues bearish. We've already had this double bottom rejection now at 151.500. We just have to clear above this liquidity zone for the safer buys above 152. But I am going to be watching how we react at 0.800 as well based on the lower time frame price action. So right now for the new 30-minute candle, we might actually even get some scalp buys off 0.800 if this new 30-minute candle here, which is just opening up, does a bit of a pullback phase here, comes to retest 151.8, fails to break lower, and then goes up into this fashion. Or we're just gonna wait for the new hourly candle with New York open volume. Okay. So we're gonna keep GJ on the 1-minute chart. We're in a buyer bias on GJ as well. We can see some lower time frame bullish market structure being created that we could possibly retest a bit deeper here too, and then have our way to the upside. So I'm only looking for buys from a 0.800 retest, break above 152, or break above 152.2 with those fundamental confirms and technical confirms given. I'd only be looking for sells below 151.500. Okay, now remember, that's fairly easy and clear cut because the Japanese yen, when you look at it standalone, is still very bearish, right? This is the 4-hour time frame on the Japanese yen. Overall, if you zoom out on the Japanese yen, we're in bearish market structure. We've only had lower lows being printed, and just for the last week or two, we've been in this consolidation zone. What I essentially want is Japanese yen to come to the bottom of this zone and start to break lower to revisit these lows, and it gives us a lot more momentum on our pairs like GBP JPY for some upside. Okay? Now, on our US dollar pairs, remember with the economic events and just on our currency pairs overall, especially when we look at USD CAD, we're most likely going to stay away from USD CAD because we have both US economic data and the Canada interest rate decision, which can cause some short-term whipsaws in price. So USD CAD is probably going to be very manipulative in terms of its lower time frame price action today and have some heavy whipsaws before having the main move come in, possibly in the next day or in the later session, because of course we have the Bank of Canada interest rate decision and the press conference, as well as the JOLTS job opening, all at 10 a.m. Eastern. These are the main factors we're going to be looking for our dollar movement. Now, because remember, we also have the short-term US dollar bullish strength from Biden discussing a plan on Thursday to combat the Delta variant. This was one of the main reasons that gold had that heavy drop, that the US dollar went up. Bitcoin even had a drop against the dollar. Oil had that drop. Stock market had a bit of a correction and dropped down to 35K when you're looking at the US 30. And of course, we had the dollar bullish itself. Okay, so now with the JOLTS job openings, I'm pretty much looking to see two things. If the job opening data is good, obviously we're going to be playing some of the dollar movement to our advantage. If the job opening data is good and Bank of Canada has any tapering discussions, dollar's going to go up, and then we're only going to sell gold below 1795, roughly below 1793, and below 1789. Okay, so I'll show you guys this 1793 and the sells below 1789. This pathway of price on gold for sells, Dixie strength, like dollar strength, JOLTS job opening data good, which shows us, which decreases the demand of gold as a precious metal safe haven because the job opening data is good. Taper discussions by central banks. Okay? Through our New York trading session, as well as after the economic data, if we're still streaming, or if you guys are still trading, if dollar holds strength, if the JOLTS job opening is good, if we get tapering discussions by the Bank of Canada and other central banks, remember, gold is a global precious metal. So then we're going to look for sells below 1793 below sells, 1789 sells. Okay? This is a news terminal that's connected to Reuters icon. This news terminal is directly connected to like a Bloomberg terminal, but I use Reuters icon. Okay? I might be on for those news events. That's still like 2 hours from now. That might be a bit long of a stream, but we'll see. I'm probably only going to be going till maybe NYSE, and then I got to do a private channel webinar as well after. But yeah, that's what we're going to be focusing on is JOLTS job opening, where the poll is pretty much similar to the prior. They're still expecting strong job opening, and the Bank of Canada rate decision, both at 10 a.m. Eastern here. Okay, now this is going to be like your checklist. You get what I'm saying? So here you're going to say, okay, JOLTS, we're getting dollar strength, check. I don't mean to draw arrows. It's supposed to be like a check mark, check. We're getting JOLTS job openings good, check. Bank of Canada talked about tapering, check. We broke below 1793, check. It's your checklist of confirms, and then you can sell gold. Okay? Otherwise, 1795 is a very key higher time frame area, and we have dollar in a very key decision state. If we still hold above 1795 and break above 1803, we still have a lot of potential where the high risk, high reward buys are at 1795, sells at 1793, 1789. But 1795, a historical key level, as well as the demand zone we dug into where we had this previous impulsive move that led into these highs on the higher time frame, is still a make or break area where we are creating a support, and the move dependent on this area is going to be dependent on data. This is going to be the inverse of the confirms we're looking for here. $17.95 held, break above. Let me make this text freaking smaller so I can fit it in here. Gold buy confirms, support and hold, $17.95 demand zone. Dollar turns bearish again. Terrible JOLTS job opening, because poor US economic data would decrease the demand. Poor US economic data would increase the demand of gold as a precious metal safe haven, where very good data does the opposite, right? Now, the stimulus staying active for central banks is bullish for gold for two reasons. Interest rates low is bullish gold. Interest rates low, inflation rising, taper delays, all bullish confirms on gold. All bullish fundamental confirms. Okay? So gold for me, you guys know usually I have a very direct bias, but with the fundamental catalyst we had obviously yesterday with Joe Biden's plan that brought US dollar strength, right? As well as we had the Bank of England speaker over yesterday, obviously talk about tapering discussions, which also led to a drop in gold and some dollar strength. We're going to have to wait for these confirms. If we break below 1793, the JOLTS job opening is good. Taper discussions by potentially Bank of Canada, dollar holds strength. Then you break below. Then we're going to be selling gold down to these levels with the safest sells below 1789. But if we fail to break 1795 and we still hold this zone in higher time frame demand zone, high risk, high reward buys with the safest buys on gold above 1803 key level and needing these fundamental confirms. Does that make sense to everybody? Do you think fundamentals is a catalyst to technical analysis? Holy shit. I don't want to roast people anymore. I'm trying to be a more mature, nicer man. But fucking hell, I really want to roast you. I really... These are just fucking lines on a chart we watch. These are just candles. It's order flow, fundamentals, and economics that print the candles on the chart we see. The order flow of the market makers, central banks, you know what I mean? Central banks, private banks, institutions. The various fundamental catalysts and economic data that goes through the financial markets. That is what prints these charts that we read. You know what I mean? So yes, it's best to use both technicals and fundamentals hand in hand. Whew, 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 whew. Yeah, good question. Very good question there. Good question. I just answered your question. All right. Thank you. Ah, you fucking retard. Anyways, all right. I'm joking. Oh, man. No, I'm just joking around. But anyways, okay, I'm going to clear the screen here. Do you guys take your notes here? Everybody? No, the retard, I just had to get it out. I had to get it out. Okay, I'm about to clear the gold screen and move on to GBP USD analysis. We good? Okay, thank you. It's not gonna, because this isn't on TradingView. This is on a different, this is a different little drawing application I use. So let me clear this and let's move on to the next thing, all right? Yeah, I'm going through my anime main character story development where I'm becoming a nicer... Here, last time. Hurry up. Screenshot it. Okay, screenshot it. Okay, done. All right, now I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going through my main character development like in my anime life story. And I'm becoming a more mature man. All right? I want to be more stoic, more calm, more collected. But I'm a very aggressive, fiery person. So we'll see how that goes for me, you know what I mean? But I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best, you know? Pretty much the safest buys are above 1803 with those fundamental confirms of poor job opening data. And the safest sells below 1789 with those confirms stated. We're just in a bit of a consolidation zone here. High risk is still 1795, but that is an opportunity there that's available to us. Okay. Sorry, I'm just double checking and reading these headlines to the left. I'm just scrolling through the headlines quick. I just want to make sure nothing that's going to be impacting us. All right, we're good. Now let's go to GBP USD here. Okay, everybody. Yo, when I call people, when I roast people, I'm not actually that angry. You know what I mean? I just want people to get, listen. The majority of people, quick little rant, all right? Not a negative rant, but just maybe this will wake some people up, inspire some people. The majority of people have limitless potential and limitless opportunities at their fingertips. At the end of the day, unless you have some medical illness to your brain, you know what I mean? If you have a functioning brain, then we all have the same capabilities and same potential as well as same opportunity within the 2021 space. Do you understand what I'm saying? We all have these supercomputers within our head, as well as supercomputers that we're currently working on right now or within our hands, our phones. It's all about how we choose day after day with our own willpower and power of choice on how we develop our brains, on how we develop our skill sets. So the reason why people see me as angry is because I see so many people come to the streams who have the same brain that I do, but they just do not put in the required time and effort. They only put in about 40%, 30% effort into what they are trying to achieve. And anytime they face a challenge or hurdle, they quit and give up. This is why the 99% is controlled by the 1%. This is why the majority of society is unhealthy, obese, extremely skinny. This is why the majority of society is mentally depressed, has anxiety, suicide is increasing. You know what I mean? So I just want people to understand their potential, understand that they have a supercomputer within their brain, and also understand that I'm not any different than any of you guys. Remember, none of us are institutional traders. None of us are any different than the other person here. The only reason that you guys see me as potentially quote-unquote smarter within the markets is because I've been involved in the markets for 5 years, and all I've done in those 5 years is constantly study the markets. Right? You know what I mean? So the roast is to realize your potential. It's to wake the fuck up and say, hey, you got the same brain between your skull that I do. Unless you have some medical illness that's impacting your brain, then okay. Then you didn't have the most lucky of circumstances, but majority of people do not have that. Majority of people have a functioning brain, but they choose to make it lazy. They choose to keep it empty. They choose not to push it to its potential limit. I feel as human beings, and especially all men out there, that through our lifetime, you should push yourself to your physical and mental limit. You should try to learn as much as possible. You should try to get in the best physical health as possible. If you're not doing that, you're not going to be living a fulfilling life. This doesn't mean that you have to go and chase being a millionaire. This doesn't mean that you have to be some bodybuilder. This doesn't mean that you have to be some athlete. It just means that within your anime story, you being the main character within your anime story, you are like Goku. You are like Luffy. You are like Eren Yeager. Okay, never mind. That's a bit of a bad example. But you are like Saitama. You are constantly improving yourself, trying to learn more and more. You make mistakes, but those mistakes don't bring you down. You learn from your mistakes, you learn from your losses, and you continue chugging away. Okay? So anyways, now, rant is a little over there. Man, I learned more through watching animes as a kid about life stories than from my own family. All right. I don't know about you guys, any anime fans here. I learned more life stories about friendship, pushing yourself to the limit, all this stuff. I learned more from animes. All right. Okay, so okay, now we can see that GBP USD has had yet to break this higher time frame demand zone for since the start of 2021 here, right? So we're still very bullish on GBP USD as we had this pullback come from these highs and then possible continuations to the upside. Yeah, you know, okay, I'm more like a Vegeta. I'm just an angry man who keeps wanting to push everybody to the limit, and actually I have good intentions for everybody. I don't want anybody to fail, but I just have more of a Vegeta approach than rather a Goku approach. I'm not happy and freaking optimistic all the time. I'm more like a Vegeta. I still want everybody to succeed. I still want to be the best, but it's more of that type of personality. You know what I mean? Anyways, now we have to be very careful here. We had some very strong bullish price action off this higher time frame demand zone that we identified, right? We also broke above this resistance level on the medium term, but yesterday we had some strong US economic data from Joe Biden's fundamental catalyst that led to strength on the dollar, and this upside move is pretty much equally corrected here. Okay? Now, if we break back below our 1.376 area, then we do have the potential to have a deeper pullback to revisit some of these lows. That's going to be primarily dependent on the JOLTS job opening data that comes and US dollar movement. So these are the trade ideas I'm looking for on GBP USD. Okay, 1.374. If we break below 1.374, GBP USD sells. These are the confirms. This is the list of GBP USD sell confirms. Failure to break above key level, which this white line is the key level. We're already having that failure to break above. We're breaking below. Dollar strength. Right now in this range, if I zoom out here, you can get a bit messy in this range. Between 378 and between 374, it can get very messy, very sporadic price action. So I know that once we clear this zone and we have these confirms, and we patiently wait for that, it's a very safe, easy sells below 1.374 technical break. First, we've identified that we broke and retested back below this price sensitivity area and key level. Then we identify the dollar strength and economic data. Then we identify the break below 1.374. All right. I'm only looking for buys on GBP USD if we come back above 378. Remember, I usually have a more clear-cut direct bias, especially if you guys, especially from the YouTube OG hyenas. When we have very clear fundamentals as well as price action, I usually have a much cleaner one-sided bias. But because the US dollar had that fundamental catalyst impact, and that we're waiting for the JOLTS job openings data as well later, and going to be watching the dollar strength, I don't want to start jumping in buys just because the higher time frame is bullish when we can have deeper pullbacks and corrections to revisit these low points if we break below 1.374 medium term zone, right? I'd only be looking for GBP USD buys So now, you know what the interesting thing is that I want you guys to identify? Is that the strength of dollar as the world's reserve currency. You guys notice that GBP against other pairs for the short term has still been relatively bullish, but anything against the dollar, dollar dominates. I don't care what it is. Anything against the dollar, it doesn't matter. The way the dollar's moving is going to dominate that pair, that commodity, whatever it may be. All right? So if we have continued stimulus talks by central banks, that's a bearish factor on the dollar. Jolt's job data being bad like NFP, that's a bearish factor. Technically, dollar index moving bearish and a break below a break above 1.378 is the buy path. The reason why I'm waiting for either or on both gold and on our dollar pairs is because I personally do not have a one-sided direct bias right now, because we do have the potential for some short-term dollar strength if we get those fundamental confirms. So as manual retail traders, we want to understand what's going on. We don't want to fight or trade poor conditions. We want to trade really clear one-sided volatility and be patient and wait for our checklist of confirms. When you do preset analysis like this, right? It's like creating a checklist on top of your trading plan. It brings you confidence. You know that, okay, if we fail to break 378, we check that off. If we have dollar index strength, we check that off. If the Jolt's job data is poor, we check that off. If we break below 374, you check that off. And it gives you confidence, okay, we're getting all these confirms fundamentally and technically. I'm going to sell below this level and look for the sells. Right? These are your confirms, your confluences. It's not just, oh, I'm going to wait for a bounce here or a 15-minute candle, because you don't really understand what's going on behind the scenes in terms of the fundamental impacting factors. That's why for a lot of people who didn't understand why we had that dollar strength yesterday, you would have been, if you didn't understand why we had dollar strength yesterday, you would have been looking at the markets like, what the fuck is going on? Bitcoin's dropping, the stock market's dropping, gold dropped, GBP USD, Euro USD dropped, USD Cad's going up so strong. What's going on in the markets? What's this manipulation? What's this crazy behavior? No, it's because dollar dominates. As soon as you had that fundamental catalyst that brought dollar strength, everything within the financial markets pretty much followed suit. Gold had that drop. Oil had a drop, Bitcoin had a drop because it's against the dollar and it's a part of the Fed's asset purchase program. Any pair against the dollar had a drop, and except for USD Cad, where the dollar is the primary in the quote. So that went up, right? So right now the conditions have not been the strongest to start jumping in scalps up and down. For example, if you are playing GU scalps within these hourly candles, what are you taking? You're taking a what? Maybe a sell for a minute and then you're getting back taken out again? Because remember, within these ranges, gold's in a range right now, and it can get very messy in these price points that we're at on Euro USD, GBP USD, and gold. Right? I know that once we clear out of this range and zone, and either we have these confirms, it's going to be a very clear-cut, easy sell on GU. Or I know that once we have these confirms, it'll be very clear-cut buys on GU. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to clear the screen if that's okay with everybody, and I'm about to go to Euro USD analysis, which is obviously going to be very similar to GBP USD. when we're looking at the market structure. All good. I'm going to delete this. Okay. You guys can obviously just rewind the stream to see what the trade ideas exactly are. The same trade ideas I'm listing out for you guys. Like for example on GJ, like for example GJ, hourly candle closed above 0.800. Let's see if we hold for a retest. Gold, those trade ideas of either buys above 1803 or the break below 1793. These are the same trade ideas that I'm also waiting for as well. I'm not going to be messing around in this range here playing a guessing game, right? Going up and down 10, 15, 30 pips, playing a guessing game, jumping in a buy, jumping in a sell. It's not effective. Psychologically, you're going to end up over trading. You're going to end up burning your account. You're going to end up confusing yourself in your bias. GJ, we're waiting for those confirms, which has already gave a scalp earlier. GU, I'm not going to play around with this messy range that we're jumping into below 378 and 374. I'm going to wait for those confirms. Okay. Sorry, I haven't been able to read the chat as active. I've been trying to, you know, just give the analysis and stuff first. May I know the websites you look for fundamental analysis? I do my own fundamental analysis. I get news and data from the Reuters icon terminal, but the fundamental and technical analysis is done by myself. The data that I get is from the Reuters icon terminal, which is directly connected to a news feed for the private channel members to the left here. For anybody who doesn't have the money to pay for the Capital Hungry private channel, the Capital Hungry News Twitter still posts a lot of headlines throughout the day. It's not as much as the news terminal to your screen here, but it's still way more headlines than Forex Factory. Forex Factory and a lot of these other websites actually source from the Capital Hungry Twitter. Many times, you know what I mean? Euro USD is the same idea. We are primarily going to be waiting for that economic data. We can see New York open just for the last 6 minutes as we've opened New York. It has just been a bit slow for the time being. It looks like investors are waiting for the Bank of Canada interest rate decision as well as the US JOLTS job opening data, because we understand that the Federal Reserve's focus is on seeing maximum employment figures, right? So the focus for economic data on the US side has been the jobs reports. One of the reasons we had this impulsive move to the upside to close off last week was because NFP was so bad. Okay, now, very similar to GBP USD, same fundamental confirms, just adapting to Euro USD price action. You can see price action and market structure very similar to GU. How come we have Euro instead of GBP, but the price action and structure so similar? Why is that? Pop quiz. How come GBP USD, Euro USD, or even like NZD USD has such similar market structure and price action? Why? You have different countries at the start, different countries' currencies at the start of the pair. Why is the price action and market structure so similar when you're looking at GBP USD as well as Euro USD right here? Why is it so similar? Because the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. It is the powerhouse. It is the dominant one. Yes, sir. Thank you. Pop quiz passed. A+. Risk currencies against safe havens, and it's also because the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. It leads the pack. Global, listen, it's not just trading wise. Global import and export between countries is still primarily done in the US dollar. Like, for example, oil exchange is still primarily done in the US dollar. They call it the petrodollar. That's why any countries you guys notice through history that try to sell oil within their own currency, they get sanctioned by the US, or the US ends up going to war with them. Like Iraq and these other countries as well. You know what I mean? We might not see crazy Euro USD movement until we have the European Central Bank sentiment. But that's okay. We're still looking for these trade ideas. I just don't have a clear-cut bias on the US dollar because it's going to be dependent on the JOLTS job openings and central bank positioning. All right. Yeah, no entries have been called out yet. We're going to be, like, for GJ, I'm still waiting for us to do a bit of a pullback. We're only 10 minutes into New York session. Like, yesterday we had some deeper pullbacks to retest structure. Then it came back above, so we're just waiting, and I'll call out the entries if I see them. Across these pairs, I'll call out when I see an entry to take for a scalp and intraday trade. So we haven't called out any trade entries yet. We haven't taken any trades yet. We just given analysis so far on economic events, fundamental catalysts, and gold, GJ, GU, and Euro USD. All right, so we're still waiting. We're just waiting patiently for the clean price action confirms, and then those trade ideas. GJ is doing a bit of a deeper pullback here. We're still only taking buys if we come back above 0.800 after New York Open does its liquidity grab, or if we bounce off 0.500. Trade ideas were given there, so we're just patiently waiting for those. No rush there, because remember, Japanese yen is just opening up here, and Japanese yen has been in this very messy range for almost 2 weeks now. All right. So no entries have been called out yet. We're still patiently waiting to see if we're going to have that dollar strength and Japanese yen strength. New York session just opened up. We still got a bunch of time until we're done this session. So no risk there, no harm, no foul. So far we've given analysis on gold, GJ, GU, Euro USD, and we're going to USD Cad. But I just gotta go to the washroom real quick. I gotta take a piss. So 1 second. So far, if you guys have missed it, just rewind the stream for the analysis on gold, GJ, GU, and Euro USD. When I come back, we're gonna do the analysis on USD Cad here, and then the US stock market. Then I'll read the YouTube chat and answer people's questions, and then we're gonna watch the markets for the next hour, waiting for those execution points with the pre-planned analysis and confirms we're looking for. All right, so just give me a second here. I just gotta go to the washroom. I'll be back. All right, I'm back. Huh? After I do the USD Cad analysis, then I'm going to give some US 30 analysis, and then we can look at some crypto. We can look at Bitcoin analysis as well, and then we'll answer questions and wait for the trade ideas. Now, USD Cad was following this bearish market structure from the sell-off point for an extended period of time until we came down to this higher time frame demand zone and key level at 1.25 flat, and now breaking back above this liquidity zone and order block to the left with only this resistance in the way. Okay, we're only going to be taking buys on USD CAD if we break above 1.27. Bank of Canada brings Canadian dollar strength and US dollar goes bearish. Oh, sorry. Bank of Canada I was talking about the sells in my head, but I was talking about this. Let me write it down. It's easier to write it down. Bank of Canada brings Canadian dollar weakness and US dollar goes bullish. I'm so focused on GU and Euro USD. That's the inverse right now. Pretty much the inverse of our GU and Euro USD analysis. USD CAD. It's a bit hard to read, but strong jolt jobs data, break above 1.27 technically, dollar bullish, Bank of Canada weakens the Canadian dollar. Also, if oil continues a bit more bearish for the day, then we have some very safe buys above 1.27. Okay? 1.27 key level. I would only be looking for sells if we either come back below 1.264 or 1.258. This is the only way I'd be looking for sells. Safest below 1.25. Green box is the buy zone. And also if we break above this previous intraday high as well at 1.276. And this is obviously if Bank of Canada brings Canadian dollar strength. Very weak jobs data breaks below these technical price points. All right. US 30. US 30, I'm waiting for NYSE open and I'm waiting to identify where the dip is going to be completed. I only like to buy US for the last year and a half with the support of the Federal Reserve flooding the markets and artificially propping up the US stock market. I only personally like to buy the US stock market. I don't like to sell it. I like to wait for the dips to take place, then buy it up, okay? So what I'm going to be assessing is we had this dip come to pretty much 35K flat here, very similar to like this dip here, right? I want to see if we can do a double bottom in this area, fail to break at NYSE open, because usually NYSE open does some heavy liquidity grabs and does some heavy price setups, right? So pretty much what I'm going to be looking to identify is going to be a similar pattern like this. Where if NYSE brings us down to these lows at 35K and fails to break, high risk, high reward buys, similar to the buys that were called at 34,600. Then if we fail to break 35K and break back above 35,200 buys, and safer buys above 35,550. Green boxes if we fail to break being the buy areas. Okay? Now, if we see that during our NYSE session, when NYSE volume comes into play, that we break lower than here, technically, we're not going to sell. We're just going to let the pullback take place and still wait for buys at 34,600. You might say, why, G? Why won't we sell? Just look at the US stock market over the last year and a half. It's only done pullbacks and continuations to new highs. We're like 5,000 points above pre-pandemic level. We're only seeing upside moves, pullbacks, and continuations up, or consolidation zones and breakouts to the upside. All I'm trying to do when we're looking at US 30 is identify how large will this pullback be. Sometimes you have some very aggressive pullbacks. Sometimes you get very minor, quick pullbacks, like even here. And you continue right back up into the highs. Right? So all I'm trying to identify is how large is this pullback going to be, and then when can we jump back into the buys with the trend to at least target the previous highs and continue back up bullish. We will not see the stock market drop until we have confirms of interest rate increases and tapering done by the Federal Reserve. Until then, you're only going to see pullbacks in the stock market, continuation to the upside. What we identify is the pullback structure, right? So right now, for example, here, you identify the pullback structure, you identify the pullback structure. Here, you identify the pullback structure, right? Then you identify potential support or exhaustion being created. You don't have to take the buys at the initial support signs or the initial signs of exhaustion. That is a higher risk, higher reward buy if we fail to break above there. But once you break above the potential consolidation zone leg, as well as the bearish corrective structure, for example, 35,200, you have a very nice run back up to previous highs at least, and potentially higher. Okay? So all I'm looking to identify here is, are we going to double bottom at 35K and continue up? Or are we going to come down to these previous lows and continue back up bullish? I don't think Joe Biden's going to be saying too much until Thursday now. I don't even think he's going to say much on Thursday. This is probably the most he said, which was that headline that caused the dip yesterday, right? Now we're pretty much going to be waiting for that economic data to come into play. So far, we're about 23 minutes into New York Open, and markets are fairly slow and stagnant. It shows me that investors and smart money, they're waiting for the JOLT job opening data. They're waiting for the New York Stock Exchange volume. They're waiting for the Bank of Canada sentiment to see how other central banks are positioning themselves. Okay? So yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Either we get a double bottom, fail to break here, high risk, high reward buys. Right? High risk, high reward. Breaking above 35,200, safer buys to target previous highs. Okay? If we break below here, if we break below this price point at roughly 39,450, I'm not selling the stock market. I'm going to let the dip happen, and we're potentially going to, I'm only going to look for buys then at the previous lows of 34,600. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, this is pretty much following suit with our analysis that was given on Monday. It's just that on Monday, we were expecting more in terms of dollar weakness, which the dollar was bearish ever since the non-farm payrolls being extremely poor. But then, like I was telling you guys at the start of the webinar, we had Joe Biden talk about this headline on yesterday, 10 a.m. Eastern. This is the reason why gold dropped. This is the reason why the stock market dropped. This is the reason why dollar went bullish in the short term. On top of the Bank of England also discussing tapering measures from a Bank of England speaker during the previous London session. Okay? Yeah, also for anybody who keeps asking, if you want to learn about fundamentals, technicals, you have over 100 plus webinars on the Capital Hungry channel for free, right? Technicals, fundamentals, psychology, rants about society, quick market updates, 3-hour live scalping sessions. Any of the Capital Hungry Hyena OGs, I bet they missed the London sessions. I bet they missed the London sessions. We used to go off. I used to do 4.5-hour streams sometimes for the YouTube community. But then everybody hated me. They said I'm too angry. So I was like, fuck this. I'm taking a little break. 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. Has anyone ever taken a trade while in this stream? I don't know. How about the chat? You guys tell them. You guys tell MIGS 400. Have we ever taken trades during our New York sessions or London sessions? Yeah, we have. We're not going to force a trade just because a stream is going on. The issue is a lot of people have a retail trading mentality because obviously we're retail traders. Just because I'm streaming, just because I'm presenting something to everybody, right? I'm not going to call out a trade just to call out a trade that's not high probability. I would only call out a trade that I would personally take myself only, that has a list of confirms and preset analysis. If you never get them, that means you are dog shit. No one's being a smart ass. I'm just smart. Like, I'm just smart. Right? So yeah, if you guys want educational webinars, scalping series, technicals, fundamentals, everything on the Capital Hungry channel here, all right? Tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of webinars. Capital Hungry free news Telegram. Oh, sorry, free news Twitter. You can go see all of my trades on either the Twitter media page. You can go see it in the free Telegram analysis channel for the last 3 years. You can go see the trades. Yeah, you can go check my Telegram from 2017 when I was first trading penny lots back in the day. 2019 when I was first trading penny lots, first going through fundamentals and technicals when I was during my penny lots days. Or you can just go through the gallery and check out any time I send. Oh shit, I zoomed out way too much here. Anytime here too, you know what I mean? Live account, trades, live tag proof, trades taken, processed, the whole list, wins and losses. Same account, obviously live tag shown there. Live. Wins and losses because losing is a part of trading and inevitable. You know what I mean? It's all here. You can just go scroll through the media page here. Here's when I made 25K in a week. Live account, 25K. Here's the full list of trades, wins and losses. Here's like the trade entries and shit like that. You guys can go have a blast through the Telegram analysis channel here. Go knock yourself out. Here's another day, 13K live account. No losses that day. No L's taken that day. Just the full trade page. Here's the day, 28,000. Show the wins and losses. That week, sorry. But yeah, this wasn't like me making this 15K, 10K, 20K. It wasn't overnight. I started out with penny lots back here at 2019. This is 2019 when gold was at 1300s. I would have been more rich if I just bought gold at 1300 and held for 2 years. But hey, that's all hindsight stuff. This was when I was still learning, going through it. So you can see my process from 2019 penny lots and scroll through all the fundamentals and technicals I used to share back then. This is like gold back in the day when we were at 1290s. You know what I mean? This is when I didn't even have a news terminal. I'd be looking at like investing.com, economic data, sharing analysis, sharing charts. When I used to make $400 in a day, this is during the 2019 days. Right? No. Scott, let me rephrase that. 2019 is not when I started. 2019 is when I first started becoming profitable. Let me rephrase that. I started in 2017. My first 2 years, 2017 to 2019, pure retard loser. Chasing signals, trying to learn every single strategy, trying to flip accounts overnight. So in 2017 to roughly 2017 to late 2018, I probably lost about $30,000 to $50,000 of my own money being a retard, depositing and losing. You know what I mean? Depositing, losing, signals, trying to flip accounts, trying to be a hero and do dumb shit like a hyena, right? But then when I started this channel, this free channel, is when I started finding profitability 2 years later after that. 2019 is when I started becoming consistently profitable and actually making consistent profits week after week and going into full-time trading. But I was still working my job, right? And then obviously, I don't mean to scroll so much, but you can see the recent trades over the last couple of months within the channel as well. Right? For example, here I made 44K in a week. Right? Live account right there. Live account, you can scroll in, 44K. Shit, I didn't mean to zoom in there. But yeah, wins and losses shown, 7K, live account, etc., etc. So you guys can go, if anybody's bored, what's this? Oh shit, sorry, didn't mean to show that. If anybody's bored, you can go through this free Telegram channel from all the way from 2019 to current times. You know what I mean? To current day. I've been running this free channel for like 2-3 years now. All right. So yeah, it's in the Capital Hungry free Telegram analysis channel. I'll even quote it again. First post, so you can see the whole process, all right? Bam. So you can click that. This is the start of the channel if you click this picture. And it's not just trading stuff. I like to do a lot of self-improvement stuff for men as well. So like on the YouTube channel here, like I just did a video 4 days ago about delaying instant gratification. Are not, you know what I mean? Right? So I just did a video on delaying instant gratification and shit like that. I like to do rants about society and stuff. This was just me yelling at you guys for 12 seconds saying go to the gym. But anyways, yeah, that's all the free content. That's all the free resources. That's all the free resources. Yeah, that's what I look like. So you have all this content. I've done webinars on a bunch of different stuff. You know what I mean? All right. So make sure you guys follow the free Telegram analysis channel right here, the free Capital Hungry Twitter, and then the Capital Hungry YouTube channel itself. All right. No, I'm natural. I'm 27 years old. I've been working out as a skinny ectomorph probably since I was about 17. Not consistently working out. When I had a career at the Royal Bank of Canada and I was doing rotational shifts, I didn't get to work out as often. But like I've been working out off and on since I was probably 17, and I'm like 27 now. So like my body isn't that impressive for 10 years of working out off and on. And for anybody who wants more than that, you can join the private channel where you get access to the newsroom. You get access to the community of 400 members, price alerts, price monitor, other members' analysis and trade ideas. We do daily live New York trading sessions in the private chat. We do daily market update webinars, weekly recap reports. Trust me. I'll let some of the private channel members, I think George and Stefano are in the chat. I'll let them tell you about it. All right. As I'm going to answer some questions, I'll let George and Stefano, if they're still here, tell you about the private channel within the chat. I'm going to go do some further analysis now. Let's just review what we got going on. Gold is still in this range. Oh, Josh is here as well. Okay. Josh is there. Yeah, so gold is still in this range. No trades executed yet. GJ, we're only taking buys. Fuck this little trend line. We're only taking buys if we come back above 0.800. GBP USD, trade ideas are listed out. Euro USD, we went through the trade ideas. USD CAD, we know exactly what we're looking for. US 30, we did analysis. We're waiting for more volume to come in. It looks like markets are fairly slow right now until we get more of that economic data and NYSE volume coming in. All right, now, for anybody who missed the analysis that was given on gold, GJ, GU, Euro USD, USD CAD, or US 30, right now you can rewind the stream. I think I did gold analysis first. Just rewind the stream. I wish I could do timestamps. We've already gone through analysis fundamentally and technically of what we are waiting for across all the pairs. I just don't want to repeat myself again because that's what we did for this last hour and a half almost so far. Is just give out analysis in those trade ideas, right? Now we're just waiting for more volume to come in with the economic data and so forth. The YouTube schedule. The YouTube schedule is this. This is the schedule I'm trying to stick to. So on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, I do a market update and trade ideas webinar on YouTube. This webinar can be roughly 30 minutes to an hour long. For example, like over here, this was the Monday market analysis I did like a couple days ago. Okay? It was like, this one was 50 minutes long. Last week was like 48 minutes long. Okay? Then on Wednesdays, which was today, we do our 7 a.m. Eastern start for our scalping session. Okay? Then on Fridays, a self-development live video. So, for example, I did the Monday market analysis last week, the live market scalping session, and then on Friday, the delaying instant gratification video. Other times, we've done like the market analysis, shorts. For here, I did like a video about how to use aggression to your advantage. Right? Here's some video on like a pandemic and central bank timeline analysis. Who's going to give you this? Who's going to give you a full timeline fundamentally and technically of what happened to the markets and why it happened? You're not going to get this anywhere else. But anyways, yeah, it's there. This is this YouTube schedule I'm going to try to stick to every week. Obviously, if something comes up, I'll send you guys a message, but this is the YouTube schedule, all right? So next time I'll see you guys after this stream is on Friday, and then again on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern evening. Okay, now, as we're waiting, let's go through some questions. Now, if anybody has any TradingView charts you want to send me, just message Krish, Sonny. But if anybody has any TradingView charts you want to send me, let's go through those now. If anybody wants me to look at a chart they have, just send the TradingView code like you guys do in the other streams. No, I don't like within the Capital Hungry service. We offer scalp trading sessions. We offer day trading ideas. We also offer swing trading ideas. Me personally, I'm switching out of the scalping sessions to be more of a day trader because it's extremely hard and distracting to look at 5 different pairs, give analysis to members, and talk to people and answer their questions, as well as actively trade and scalp myself. So I'm involved in the markets potentially 5 days a week, but I'm trading gold only and for day trading style. I used to trade 10, 20, 30 pips with like a 5 to 10 pip stop loss, being in and out of the market pretty quick. But as Capital Hungry, the business grew, and as I got more of a following, I got way too distracted and it was impacting my trading. So now I do day trading style where I'll look for a gold trade based on preset analysis and at key levels with roughly a 20 to 30 pip stop loss for a 60 to 90 pip gain depending on market structure and price action, that I'll just set a hard stop loss and a hard take profit and let it run. So I'll do my analysis, I'll enter the trade, and then I'll follow that. No, Capital Hungry just started to get more members probably within the last 6 months. It used to be much cheaper where I didn't do as much in the chat, and we didn't have a news terminal, we didn't have the data terminal, we didn't have all the stuff offered. But Capital Hungry just really grew within the last 6 months. I still make more trading, to be honest. I don't know if you guys saw the trades, but some weeks I was making 25K. Capital Hungry, depending on how many members, might not even make that in a month with the expenses, the fees from PayPal, Stripe, and ChargeBee, right? If you looked at some of the trades I was just showing you guys, some weeks and months I was making 25K, 40K. But my taxes are fucked. I have to pay for 2020 taxes. I have my full-time RBC salary, 6 months of there. I have my trading profits as well as Capital Hungry profits. I gotta pay 100K in taxes for 2020. It was a big tax bill. It really fucked me in the ass. I wish I better prepared for taxes in the business side of things. But I'm not a hero, you know what I mean? I'm not somebody who just does something. I'm not somebody who just does something and like is automatically good at it. Any type of success I've had in my life, whether it's with developing my body or whether it's with trading or Capital Hungry the business, has all been through strict trial and error. I have more losses than wins under my belt, but my wins are a lot bigger than my losses across the board. Yeah, taxes fucked me in the ass, man. Canada's such a shithole, fucking fake ass country, you know? They just fool you that you have all this freedom and shit, but it's actually a fucking scam out here with taxes. This one didn't work. Am I putting in the code right? What I gotta put in here? Just TradingView, then the code, right? Let me try this again. Okay, here's one. Okay, let's zoom out here. This is gold. You're looking for buys above this rejection zone. Yeah, we're also only looking for buys above 1803, but you're gonna need fundamental catalysts for these buys above 1803. The catalyst for the buys above 1803 is gonna be continued stimulus talks. So you're gonna need bad JOLTS job data, dollar bearish, break above 1803, stimulus talks via central banks. Okay, this is the only way I'm taking buys. It's above 1803 for me. So I agree with your analysis, and that's also what I'm looking for, but that's only if we have these confirms and we break above 1803. Otherwise, we're going to be waiting for the break of this range and the economic data to come into the scene, both at 10 a.m. Eastern. We have obviously Jolt's job opening and the central bank sentiment from the Bank of England. Oh, sorry, from the Bank of Canada. Why did I say Bank of England? I was just looking at a headline quick. Okay. Yeah, let me check out your guys' charts. I'm trying to copy and paste them as quick as I can. GJ, we might get our buys within this next 15-minute candle or the new 4-hour candle above 0.800. But no, we have not taken any trades yet through this stream because we have not got the confirms we are looking for. I like to use the Oanda charts. I like to use on TradingView the Oanda feed. Okay, I like this. Chris, okay. Jixie needs to break to look for shorts for me. Okay, so you're still in the buyer bias as well. You're looking for safer buys above 152. You're only going to sell if we break below 151.5. Very similar analysis that I also gave earlier. I really like that. I like how you're looking at the volatility index and stuff, and also how you're looking at the individual Japanese yen movement. But oh, Jixie needs to break 90.9 for you to look for shorts. Okay, I really agree. I like this. Very simple, very clear cut. I like how you're looking at the equity markets, the price action areas of interest. I like how you have both trade ideas marked out and you're going to stay adaptive as well. No, yes, but this is wrong. I don't really want to look for sells at 0.800. I want to look for buys above 0.800. I think it's better if you look for buys above here and also buys above 152. Only sells below 0.500, all right? Nice analysis. I like that. Your fundamental bag is similar to Sammy's? No, all these guys copy me. None of these guys like Sammy ever used fundamentals before Capital Hungry came around. They use Fibonacci and indicators. Let's be honest. Majority of marketers that are starting to talk about fundamentals now, like, watch Capital Hungry a lot. And it's also so they can have more to talk about. You know what I mean? Majority of them use indicators, EMAs, Fibonacci, golden level, a lot of nonsense in indicators, RSI, oscillator, this, that. Why isn't this working? Okay, here we go. What pair is this? What is this? NZD USD. If good news keeps supporting the dollar and level 4 lockdowns continue in NZ, we can expect some nice short sells. So you're looking for sells below 7.1 down to this area. NZD USD, GBP USD, and Euro USD all have the same market structure and price action. So for me to take safer NZD USD sells, as per what you're looking for, I would need to see dollar strength and actually a break below the safe sell zone you got marked out here. Here, it's getting a bit messy with this pullback structure. Once you break below here at 0.709, I would see much safer sells. All right. Have I heard of Cleveland? No, I haven't. What do I think of My Life with My Life FX? She's a scamming, fake, demo trading bitch. She's only done account management and scammed people. And then after, she never used to talk about fundamentals. And her fundamentals aren't even right. She just copies and pastes articles from like news websites and doesn't even talk about what it's actually going to do to the markets. So she is a fake, scamming, blonde, big titty bitch. Guys just sign up to her. Guys just sign up to her because like she's fucking hot. You know what I mean? She's a hot girl guys are horny as fuck nowadays and simps. It's like, oh wow, this hot girl. Maybe if I make money trading, she'll go on a date with me. Who is actually signing up to her because of her knowledge? Like, no, it's because she's a hot girl, right? Too many simps around nowadays. I don't know. I think she's just a blonde, rich, and she's already rich, like from her parents and shit. So she's not my cup of tea. Very fake, bullshit bitch. But that's just my 2 cents, you know. Did anybody else? If I missed your chart, please send it again. Lost trade on GBP AUD you took. I do not trade risk currency against risk currency pairs, but let me check out your chart for you. We have 9 minutes until the 4-hour candles close and the new 4-hour candles come in. All right, so we're gonna wait for that now. Oh, so it looks like we had a high printed. I would need to zoom out. I would need to see more of the time frames. I would need to see more. Ninel FX is my life journey, whatever FX lady. That's Ninel. That's the blonde name Ninel. No, I did not catch the gold drop yesterday. It came very impulsively with that headline from Joe Biden, and we did not adapt to the sells accordingly. We actually took the buy bounce from 1795 to 1800 yesterday, and then we stayed out of it just because we're waiting for that economic data. Majority of our pairs are still ranging here until we get more confirms with the economic data coming in. Do you think you need extensive knowledge in fundamentals like me to be profitable? No, but I feel like if you are trying to find success within the financial markets, you should have as many weapons in your arsenal as possible, right? You should try to be as knowledgeable in what you're doing. You should try to have as many tools and weapons that support your success in what you're trying to achieve in the markets, right? For example, if you are a professional athlete, let's just say you're a basketball player, you wouldn't want to just know how to dunk. You know what I mean? You wouldn't want to know just how to dunk and that's all you can do. Yeah, maybe you're tall and you can dunk and you'll find some success. You might make it into some league, but you're probably gonna get phased out by the people who are trying to master the entire craft, who are trying to understand the fundamentals of the game of basketball, who are trying to develop their reflexes, their speed, their strength, their skills even further. So that's the way I see it. I don't tell anybody to trade fundamentals only. I don't tell anybody to trade technicals only. I tell people to learn as much as possible within the entire markets as you can to be more confident within your own knowledge and with what you're doing in the markets. IG Doused, Donut Doused, the fat Jew is not legit. He is also a rich boy scammer from actually in my ends in the GTA. His parents own a watch business. He's already rich. He just rents Lambos and does the normal route. IG Donut is not a good role model. Somebody who's 22 should not be obese. I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? Somebody who's 22 should not be obese. Especially if you're that rich and you have this much free time, you should be taking care of yourself, you know? Hey, that's just my 2 cents. You guys can believe and follow and listen to anybody you want, you know what I mean? Lambo Raul, do you guys know who Lambo Raul's dad is? Dr. G Smile. He already makes millions of dollars a year. Where do you think Lambo Raul gets his cars from and gets his houses from? It's from his dad, Dr. G Smile, and Lambo Raul's dad's brother also owns a car dealership. So, you know what I mean? That's just my 2 cents. All right, yo, 5 minutes till these 4-hour candles close. It looks like we're still going to have dollar strength dominate. We had this very strong impulsive downside move. Upside pullback. If we break below 1793 with those confirms I'm telling you, it looks like we're going to get these plays within the new 4-hour candle and with the economic data. All right, what we can identify is so far New York session, the open's been fairly slow, but we're still seeing some strength within the US dollar here. US dollar still chugging away bullish, and if it breaks above 92.7 and we continue up a bit higher, then we're going to have those confirms for GU sells below 374, 375 area, Euro USD sells below 1.8, gold sells below 94, 93, UCAD buys above 1.27. All right. Opinion for the Tesla stock: wait for pullbacks and keep buying until Federal Reserve tapers off stimulus and raises interest rates, then short Tesla. Do I think Q Banks is a scammer? 1,000,000% yes. These are all just my opinions. Yo, ask questions about the markets. Why are you guys asking questions about other traders and shit? Ask questions. I said I'll answer questions, but I thought you guys are gonna ask questions about like charts, or like or sending me a chart and shit. You guys should be asking questions about the Federal Reserve, about interest rates, about taxes, about equity markets. AUD USD, sure. I actually have an AUD USD chart open here. Let's take a look at it. My analysis on AUD USD is very, very similar to any other US dollar pairs, all right? 0.733 key level. We're still in some pullback structure from these high points. Taxes are my favorite. The best commodity to look at for AUD price correlation is metals, but mainly gold, or just looking at the partnership between China and AUD. Bitcoin projections. I did a webinar on the YouTube channel that was talking about the crypto market crash to come. When do I, okay, let me go through these. When do I expect a raise of interest rates? I'm guessing not a raise of interest rates, but going into tapering, probably about Q2 2022. Maybe about 3 to 6 months into 2022, and then rising of interest rates probably into 2023. Have more expenses. The shitty thing about being a full-time trader and being a sole proprietorship business, which is what I did with Capital Hungry, is that trading and Capital Hungry is all online, right? There's minimal expenses compared to your everyday generic business. What I call your everyday generic business is like somebody who owns a store or somebody who owns a restaurant. When you own a store or restaurant, first you have your physical place of business that you pay rent and utilities for. Then you also might have employees. Then you also might have inventory that you have to pay for that goes all into your expenses, right? But with an online business and with trading, make as many expenses as you can. Whether it has to be buying a computer, buying stuff for your desk, like making your office space, the rental fee. Try to develop as many personal expenses that are valid as you can. Okay? That is the issue with online trading and online businesses, whether it's drop shipping. There's no LLCs in Canada. Canada only has sole proprietorship, incorporated, or corporated. Okay. Yes, sir. Yeah, only looking for buys on AUD USD. Break and retest above 7.4. Opposite of these confirms, but potentially this. New 4-hour candle just opening up here, and the other 4-hour candles closed. So let's go back to our main pairs here. So we still failed to break 1795. We're just in this zone, NYSE in 30 minutes. Yeah, Canada doesn't have LLCs. Unless you open your business in the place of business within a US state and open a US LLC, we don't have that in Canada. Okay. I have a general business degree. For anybody who's asking about entries on swing trades, on how to scalp, please use the Capital Hungry resources. There's webinars on swinging, scalping, intraday trading, and so forth. Okay? I want to move countries, but for family reasons, on how I support a good portion of my family and the health reasons of my mother, I cannot do that. So my circumstances do not allow me to abandon my family anytime soon. Let's start watching gold here. If we get the breaks below 1795 region and 1793. GJ still just ranging here. We're going to see if the new 4-hour gives us a little pullback. Then we come back up. Dollar still holding some strength, which is good. Japanese yen is still bearish, which is good for our biases. We're looking for GJ buys. We're looking to play some continued dollar strength. Don't forget, these economic events are what's in the reason why markets are fairly slow and weaker right now is because investors are waiting for these economic events all at 10 a.m. Eastern. Canada's interest rate decision, then of course the JOLTS job openings, which is going to impact the US dollar as the focus has been on that data. Don't forget, as manual retail traders, do your analysis, pre-planned analysis, patiently wait for your confirms, follow your trading plan, follow your risk management plan. Yeah, these were the key recent fundamental points on why gold did drop yesterday, was because of Biden's discussion on the plan for Thursday to combat the Delta variant. Japan's prime minister is also going to be meeting with President Biden, probably discussing relations as well. No, I do not trade the volatility index, but like for example here, US dollar, Japanese yen index, US dollar index, volatility index. I do not trade these individually. I look at the movement and price action of these to understand market sentiment and order flow positioning. Because I like to see how individual safe haven currencies are moving, as well as how the volatility index is moving and what information it tells me about the financial markets to use hand in hand with the fundamentals and technicals. I really like to use correlations. Okay, everybody. Why do you feel like you have a moral obligation to take care of your family and put them over my own wants and needs? Because that's what they did for me. Okay, everybody. So, from the start of this webinar, we recapped why dollar had strength, why gold dropped, and so forth. Right? We went through our recent fundamental points. We went through our mental reminders. We went through our economic events. We gave trade ideas and analysis on gold, GJ, GBP USD, Euro USD, US 30 stock market, as well as other pairs people requested and asked for as well. We did not have any confirms to enter any trades yet. No confirms on gold yet. No confirms on GJ. No confirms on any of the pairs because we're just primarily ranging on the lower time frame until we have that economic data release. I'm not going to be streaming for another hour waiting for that economic data, and I personally have to go right now. We've already been streaming for about roughly 2 hours here. We started at 7 a.m. Eastern. But all of the trade ideas given to you guys within this webinar that you can rewatch are still active through the New York session as well as throughout the day as well. Okay? Remember, I gave you guys what I'm looking for the fundamental and technical confirms, the price points of interest, psychology, correlations, and everything in between. I personally have to go. I appreciate all of your support. I appreciate you guys showing up, but I have to go right now. I just had something come up and we've already been running for 2 hours as well. Thank you, everybody. Please make sure you guys follow all of the Capital Hungry resources and put a lot of time and effort into your learning. Okay? Capital Hungry YouTube page, Capital Hungry free Twitter Telegram or free Twitter channel, Capital Hungry Telegram analysis channel. If you want more, come join the Capital Hungry private channel via the website, where you're going to get access to all of this stuff every single day, every single week. If you guys enjoy these YouTube streams, then the Capital Hungry private channel will change your life. All right? Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you guys coming here, giving me some company, having discussions on the markets. The next time I'll see you guys is on Friday for a self-development live video. All right? If you guys want to send me some ideas on what to do the self-development video on, I'll listen to those ideas as well. You can message me on Telegram or on Twitter or something. You know what I mean? But thank you guys for watching. All those trade ideas are still active. Once we get the confirms, we just didn't get the confirms we were looking for to enter anything, and we're not going to force a trade for no reason over the last 2 hours. All right? So thank you, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time. Yeah, if you guys enjoy the stream, please do me a favor, subscribe, turn post notifications on, and also like the stream so it gets more exposure in the YouTube community. Thank you, and have a great day.